Now, Donald Trump's first press conference, that's a solo press conference, a little bit of a mess, a little bit of a disaster, a lot of cringeworthy moments going on in this whole thing. Now, one of them was actually when he was responding to an NBC reporter that decided to confront him on something that he said earlier in a press conference. Now, the reporter is NBC News' Peter Alexander, and I'm going to show you a clip here. Was going to challenge Trump on one of his crazy claims. Let's take a look.
You said today that you had the biggest electoral margin since Ronald Reagan, 304 or 306 electoral votes. In fact, President Obama got 365.
Well, I'm talking about, yeah.
Obama 300.
Yeah.
George H.W. Bush 426 when he won as president. So why should Americans trust?
Well, no, I was given that information. I don't know. I was just given. We had a very, very big margin.
I guess my question is, why should Americans trust you when you accuse the information they receive of being fake when you're providing information?
Well, I don't know. I was given that information. I've seen that information around, but it was a very substantial victory. Do you agree with that? Okay, thank you.
Okay, so you heard at the end, it was a very substantial victory, right? Well, you are president. I'll concede that. That's true. But no, I love this, right? No, I don't know where I got the information. I mean, I got the information. It was great. And so that's why I sat there and I started repeating the information, even though I don't know it's true. Huh. Well, that's great.
It's the best information.
It's the best information.
It was given to me.
It makes me look so good, is what it is. He said he had the biggest electoral win since Ronald Reagan. What are the results on that? I wish we could ask Maury. The results are you were lying. Look, even when you factor in Republican presidents, right? Because here are the facts on that, and this is what this reporter was saying. You had Republican George H.W. Bush that won 426 electoral votes back in 1988. Now, Ron, wasn't that guy after Reagan?
Yes. Signs point to yes.
Huh, that's
Pretty
weird.
Sure. I remember my social studies textbook from 5th grade.
Huh. Oh, you mean well, Donald Trump, doesn't he read that? Didn't he ever read that? Didn't he study any of this stuff?
No, but I think it's what Betsy DeVos uses to keep her house warm.
Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense. But look, again, Pete Alexander, he said, man, what you're saying is absolutely false. How can we trust you when you say that facts are fake news and then you come up with your own fake facts, your alternative facts? How are the American people supposed to trust you? That's a good question. That's sort of a devastating question, to be honest. And of course, when challenged, he said, I don't know. Somebody give that information. Well, it's not information. It's fake news.
But he's seen it, Jeff. Don't you remember that part? He said, well, I have seen that information.
I have seen that. Where did you see that?
I saw it when it was given to me, because that's what happens when something's given to you. You see it. He goes into like these phases of just straight up word salad, like whenever he feels like it, pretty much. Nobody, like he makes GW look like an intellectual. I mean, remember when that guy would talk and it was like, wow, this guy has that job. Like Donald Trump makes him look reasonable. Like you think back on it and you're like, I just stumbled over some words. This guy sounds like, I mentioned this before. I used to teach public speaking at a community college because that master's degree was well worth it. And whenever kids would like repeat the same sentence multiple times, it's because they weren't prepared. It's because they didn't know what they were going to say next. And you'll notice if you look at any of those transcripts, Donald Trump repeated stuff like multiple times. Like he'll just say the same sentence over again because he doesn't even know where he's going next. He's not even saying comprehensive thoughts.
Right. And look, I do have to point out, he probably did see those numbers legitimately on places like Fox News and Breitbart. Because those are the places that come up with this stuff. Because Donald Trump, he doesn't think for himself. He sits there and watches TV. He watches Fox News. He watches all the different cable shows. He watches Saturday Night Live, by the way, which is still hilarious. Failing show. Failing. I'm gonna tune in and see what they're saying about me. I'm going to read the failing New York Times. They're so bad. Ooh, look at what they're saying about me. I can't put it down. I mean,
yeah, I love
this is
how
a guy
he's
that
like
hate
really
watches.
crapping on the press hardcore when they gave him those billions of dollars worth of
Oh, $3 billion
publicity.
worth of free media. Yeah, that's a great point, Ron. And now it's failing New York Times. Terrible. Disaster. CNN. Even though I'm best friends with Jeff Zucker. Disaster.
Yeah.
I think it was recently an article that came out where he was at going to dinner with Jeff Zucker. And in what was it, Kushner? Jared Kushner that called him up and said, "Hey, you guys are being a little too unfair to my father-in-law." Seriously. So
I just imagine that conversation where Donald Trump like tells Jeff Zucker, you know, you don't need to pay the journalists. You can just not pay them. You
That's what I
just
do.
say you weren't satisfied with the report. I'm not satisfied with the report.
I'm so unsatisfied with the reports.
Yeah,
Believe
and
me.
then
Disaster. But no, look, this just goes to how Donald Trump's running the White House, right? He's running this like a business-themed reality show. You know, like all of his employees are essentially they're little toadies, right? They're yes men. They don't challenge him whatsoever, and basically they tell him everything that he wants to hear. Or if they're not telling him everything he wants to hear, he either gets rid of them, right? Or he watches Fox News and says, "Wrong. You're wrong." That's what we have here. And look, they do this because they want to get on his good side. They want to get advanced. They want to actually advance their career. Remember the Politico piece where the staff was like backstabbing to try and get and do better positions? You had Kellyanne Conway, Sean Spicer. They're all going after each other. And so and it's all about trying to curry favor with the CEO. And
Yeah.
I've said this before, but this is unsustainable. As a White House, it's amazing that we have this. This is incredibly dysfunctional. And look, it ends up having, look, you end up getting all this kind of stuff where he gets misinformation, bad information, and that he spews constantly in the face of real questioning. I mean, not once, as you said, that in that press conference, did he actually give any sort of answer to any sort of questions with any kind of depth. And it's why, it's because he's got to be kept from the truth. He's a child. And when he's exposed to the truth, he doesn't believe it. He calls it fake news, unless, of course, the truth happens to help him or makes him look good. So what we have here is a vain man-child as president. And this is a guy we gave the nukes, Ron. We gave this guy the nuclear football. And remember that other story that came out where he was at Mar-a-Lago and he's, got his cell phone. He's getting intelligence on his phone. And there's servers coming in back and forth. They can look at that stuff. This is vital intelligence. And then you even had the guy there that was it's got the nuclear football. And he's like shucking it around. I mean, the guy's sitting there getting pictures taken of him and put on social media. The guy that has the nuclear codes. This is insanity. Absolute incompetence.
Well, I would say he's not even running the White House. It's not even like, well, this is how he's running the White House. It's like he's straight up not running. I mean, you look at, you look at what's going on within the cabinet. You look at you look at everything surrounding Michael Flynn and everything that unfolded there. With the intelligence community, the administration, where it's basically a James Bond movie where we just have a web of bad guys. And we're wondering who the good guys are or if there are any, and we straight up don't know. You have these people, the replacement for Flynn didn't even want the gig after he saw the press conference.
Yeah, he called it a shit sandwich.
It's not even being run. It is it's just a completely disassembled circus. And honestly, that's not... In a weird way, this isn't necessarily a bad thing, because if the circus goes on for 2 years and nothing gets done, that could be the best thing we could hope for.
Yeah. And again, this whole thing, you're right. You're right. There is nobody running the show. I mean, the closest one that you have is Steve Bannon. I mean, he's the guy that's actually crafting a lot of the executive actions and just handing them out to Trump. Hey, Donnie, do you want to sign this? You should sign this, okay? Oh, what is it? Oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. Just
You don't need to read it.
You don't need
Just
to
sign
know.
it. It gives me more power.
All you need to do is sign it so you can go back to watching Fox News, okay? Oh, okay. I can do that.
If you want a lollipop, you can have a lollipop.
But there's one more thing here. And this is actually about the press. Now, you and I, we've been really hard on the press. Especially during Obama. Now, here's a little bit of a weird reversal. This is actually what it took. Donald Trump getting president to wake up the press. Now, on one hand, I'm glad that they're finally do their job, right? And I'm sure you are too, because they are actually doing tough questions. But
I am. I mean, no, go ahead. No.
Well, think about it this way. They wouldn't have done anything remotely like this during a Hillary Clinton presidency. Do you not agree? There's no way they would
I
challenge
totally agree.
Yeah.
The one thing that I find frustrating is how, there's certainly some accountability here. I mean, I look at it this way. Imagine you have a child, which is basically what Donald Trump is, and he's got the hands to match it. Imagine you have a child and you just let that child have candy whenever they want. And then one day, all of a sudden, you're going, hey, child, you're president now, and you have to eat your peas. How likely is that child to eat those peas, especially if the child is a spoiled rich child to begin with?
Right.
They're not going to. The media has been totally soft on this guy. They gave his empty podium more airtime than Bernie Sanders, and they let him turn our political process into a complete parody of itself. And they gave him billions of dollars of free publicity or free advertising. He's their spectacle. He is the spectacle. And they did everything in their power to make sure this election was a horse race.
Yeah. He's
their spectacle.
That's what I'm saying.
So they're looking at their Frankenstein. So if they're finally starting to do their jobs, it might even be too little too late. But this whole rhetorical situation still lends itself to the fact that our media structure is pretty much over. It is a sinking ship that is the Titanic. Donald Trump feels that way. His reasons for feeling that way are completely bogus. But nonetheless, I was saying, I think it was on Jimmy Dore, I said it, where like, man, it'd be so amazing if he unintentionally did something wonderful, like he overturned the Telecom Act or something like that. Like he just did something amazing for press freedom, even though it was for all the wrong reasons on his end, but it happened anyway. It's not going to happen, but.
Yeah, no, all your criticisms of the media are absolutely correct, and it's the same criticisms that I've been talking about. With them giving so much $3 billion worth of free media coverage. Thanks to WikiLeaks, the media propped up Donald Trump because they thought nobody's going to lose to this guy. We could put up the worst Democrat ever, and she'd still not lose. Oh, oops. Oh, did she lose? Uh-oh. We just created a monster, and now we have to kill it. And that's why the media had their sudden turnaround. And that's what I pointed out here. They did finally wake up to what they were doing. But, as you said, it's too little too late. We've got, 4 years at least of handling this. So, but look, I want, you and I both want the media to actually do better. And that's the whole point of our criticism. And you're right, Donald Trump's only purpose is to destroy the media that he does not like, right? He hates the media because they say mean things about him. And so oh, I hate that. Oh, I want to get rid of that. But we don't want to destroy the media. We want to make the media better. We want them to actually do their jobs. And so it's completely different reasoning. Even if he does do something positive, he's doing it for the wrong reasons. Now, I'm not going to argue with the results, but there is that, there is that incentive, that impetus for him to do, to do that. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.